time when I was in high school, we had 80-minute class periods, so we had a lot of downtime sometimes. And two of the people in my class, like my math teacher, it's amazing how I can do math because my math teacher, he's a really good teacher. We had 80-minute class periods, and usually like the first 20 minutes he just wasn't in class, like we just were left alone for 20 minutes. And so one day they're like, I wonder if we should just leave and just go outside and stand outside the window and see if he notices. And I did not do that, but two people just left and they just went out the door and walked around and just stood outside the window so that when he came in and started teaching that they were just standing at the window.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, he noticed. And kind of.
Did you laugh?
What would you do if we did that?
I would be very mad.
Probably gets like expelled or something.
You just think
We're in A school, we don't do that here.
Times were different in the 90s.
I feel like someone actually did try and go out the window in English last year.
If I tried to go out that window, my butt would probably break the glass, and then I'd have to explain to Mr. Puckett why I was climbing out the window, and it
Well, I
was
think
not
it was Lucas, because
a
I think
good thing. So,
it was definitely Lucas.
okay, enough about ridiculous things. Properties of logarithms. One property of a logarithm is even if you have a calculator that doesn't do different bases of logarithms, there's a change of base formula, which some of you remembered when we first started talking about logarithms, that you knew you could cheat and do it on your calculator. Because if you have log of something of x, you can change it to any base that you want by taking the log of that on the bottom and the log of x on the top. Well, why would you want to change it to any base except for the bases that we can do in our calculator? So the one that you really need to know is how to change it to log base 10 and how to change it to log base e, which is ln. So I always remember the base goes on the bottom. So if I have log a of x, I know the base goes on the bottom. So I can just take log of a on the bottom, log of x on the top, and you'll get the same decimal as if you worked it out the exponential way. And the same thing is true for ln. You can just do this as ln because that's log base p. The base goes on the bottom, so you take ln of a on the bottom, ln of x on the top. Maybe that's wrong to teach you it that way, but that's really how I do it because I always remember the base goes on the bottom because they both start with b.
Wait, why is I thought it has to be ln a of x? You change it from a log to a natural log?
No, like,
Same answer?
yes. Isn't that the same? Like, if you do this on your calculator or you do this on the calculator, you get the same answer.
Why?
Isn't that crazy?
But ln
Like, do it. Take log of 7 over log of 6, and then take ln of 7 over ln of 6. Be careful, though. You have to close your parenthesis on the top if you type it all in at once. But you get the same answer.
1.08, someone remember that.
1.08, got it.
1.08. I got 3.48.
You didn't close your parentheses.
I did too. You don't have to go back one. It's still the same. I got 3.48.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. Ratify. ln of 6.
How many classes did you
I
have?
swear, you like say.
In high school,
Yeah.
we had 4 days, but we had them every other day. So I had 8 classes, but we only had met, like, we had red days and white days. So, like, if 1 week red days would meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but then the next week they'd only meet Tuesday, Thursday.
That's awesome.
And so it was really great because you had more time to do your homework. So, like, on homework that was assigned on Monday wasn't due until Wednesday. And on Friday, that class you had on Friday, you didn't have it until Tuesday. So it was kind of very similar to college. Like, that's how most college classes are. You have your Monday, Wednesday,
That would
Friday
be
classes.
good though, you get close to
Tuesday, Thursday, and you had more classes. You got to take 8 classes, so you could get more credits. But you need more teachers, and so a lot of places have gone back from it. Like Turkey Run just went back a couple years ago, and now they do the regular 7.
Why do we need more teachers?
Because if you're offering more classes, then there's more. Like it seems like you're only teaching 4 classes a day, but you need just like trimester. Like they used to be on trimester here,
That's why.
and you need more teachers because you can get more credits. Like as
Pregnancy was trimester.
You're hating.
trimester just means like 3. So it's like we're on semesters. So we have 2 semesters. Trimester means we have 3 grading periods.
Like we would have 3 nights
We have 3 12-week grading periods.
instead of 4 nights.
Pregnancy is called trimesters because there's 3 of them.
I like that better. To get 12 weeks, you get your grades up and not 9.
But your grade is over in 12 weeks. Like, it's not like first 9 weeks, second 9 weeks together. Like, we really have 18-week semesters, right? So in a trimester,
And you have finals.
such finals.
You had finals 3 times.
And then in month
Yes.
9.
Never mind. I take it back.
Month 9, you know, it's month 9.
Anyway, it was pretty cool. I liked it. We switched when I was a sophomore in high school. So my sophomore, junior, senior year, I was on block scheduling, and it was great. I really rarely had homework because
Doesn't happen like that.
It definitely happened like that.
I don't know if I could handle one class for 80 minutes, so.
I don't know if I can handle some students for 80 minutes. So
It was directly at me. That was not very nice. No, but
they
then your
got rid of study hall when we went to block scheduling because the age of study hall is ridiculous. But we did like teacher assistants. We called them staff assistants. And so if you didn't want to take a class, you could be a staff assistant one who could read.
Yeah, you started recording.
Yeah, I'm recording this whole time.
About pregnancy. I thought trimester was pregnancy. Good job.
I should go down in my book of silly things people said. One time I was teaching in Precalculus and I told them that I heard a study that said if you run backwards, then it makes you, like, your brain work harder. And so, like, before tests, that you should run backwards. Like, you should run out of the classroom backwards because it makes your brain think differently.
Did they try it?
No. And then someone said, oh, you should just run backwards on your treadmill. And someone said, I didn't know treadmills had reverse. I really thought I was going to fall down before last week because
Running, missed out on a new iPhone 6. You had a slow-mo camera on the iPhone 6?
I did
And we played with it for like 20 minutes of class. Like, we could just stop.
She posted on Facebook yesterday, the video.
Wait, the video of me running or actually?
No, the video.
I was going to post a video of you running through a classroom. That is pretty cool.
This says rewrite as log base 10. So I'm just going to take log of 89 over log of 5, and then you write the answer. On your test, there are questions that I say rewrite using the change of base formula and give me the decimal. So you have to make sure you show me you know the formula, and then you can type in your calculator correctly.
It's 2.789.
I don't trust you because you did the last one wrong.
It's
The grade is
2.789.
ruined.
Actually, it's just 789.
Notice that we could not do this doing the way that we did without a calculator. 5 to the what power equals 89, right? It's not a perfect square. We could guess and check and get kind of close, but that's why this formula is nice.
5 to the 2.789.
It's
89.007.
pretty close, right? I threw in some other bases here just to kind of make you use your calculator correctly. You're going to use some parentheses here. But still, this is the base on the bottom, this is on the top. So I can rewrite that as log of the square root of 5 over log of the square root of 2. But remember, when you type in your calculator, you got to close your parentheses. Yes, ma'am?
What do you like use logs for? Like besides finding what the log is, like what from? Like is there like you can use story problems for like link friends with? Is there like a story problem?
Yeah. Like we can do a lot of. We're gonna get in 3.6. It's called finance stuff. There's a ton of equations involving finance stuff where you're figuring out interest or anything like that. When your exponent is a variable, to solve that, you would need to use a logarithm. But then also there's just a lot of science formulas that have logarithms in them. When they measure earthquakes, they're using logarithms. When they measure sound, like 59 that we did, they're using logarithms. So there's some formulas that just have logarithms in them, and then there's sometimes that we have to take the log to get the answer there. When you do this on your calculator, when you type in log, it should give you a parenthesis. When you type in a square root, it should give you a parenthesis. So you have to make sure you close both of those parentheses before you hit divide, or it will just keep taking the log of all that. On the bottom, not as important. It's okay if you put your parentheses, because it's going to do that. But if you don't close your parentheses on the bottom, it should still work. But it will give you the wrong answer on the top. So that's why I threw that in here, just to see if we could type that in correctly.
It's actually 2.322.
2.322.
Dang it.
Doesn't trust us.
How did I get that wrong? Okay, log
This is
square
the
root
back
of 5. Do I do two parentheses or one?
They are open.
I can't either.
Yes.
That's why I found
7 days.
Happy birthday, Brandon.
Whoa!
You're not gonna make it, but
It's got bread. Like 7 days in order to finish it off. Yeah, hopefully you can. Like, isn't it on Friday or like when I
use natural log to evaluate. If it just says use change of base formula, you can use log base 10 or ln. If it says which one to use, make sure you use it. It's the same thing. Now you're going to do ln, right? So now we're just going to say ln of 18 over ln of 5. Close your parentheses.
Since you get the same answer, what's the difference?
There's none, except for I just want to make sure you know how to do it.
Log pi of e.
Oh my goodness.
Kidding me?
That. I just want to point out this one you could actually simplify and leave. It looks kind of nice without typing in your calculator, because if you rewrote log pi of e, that would be ln of e over ln of pi. And what is ln of e?
Nothing.
1.
1. That's what nothing is.
Not true.
First is the worst.
If you type that in your calculator, ln of e over ln of pi, you're going to get the same answer. I just wanted to, be exciting.
Is there just a regular e button, or is everything e to the x?
E to the x.
I got it right.
1 divided by ln of pi.
I got 0.874.
It's a one that's shaped like a pie.
You guys are so mean.
Not just me. I just got threatened to not make my next birthday.
Questions about this? Okay, this is the formula you gotta know. The other properties of logarithms are super important when we start solving equations, being able to break up logarithms or put logarithms back together, okay? So I'm gonna give you these properties in terms of just base A, but the same properties are true for ln, so we're gonna write it out twice. We could do this whole discovering thing if you could discover these properties, but you learned them last year, so I don't really see a point of doing that. But remember, a logarithm is an exponent. So the rules of exponents kind of apply to the logarithms. So that takes up shit.
So what? You know what he said.
No, I really don't. Yeah, I think like this. Okay.
I heard that. I don't want to get in trouble. That's not the type of person. He speaks Italian. Speaks Italy.
He speaks 5 languages, actually.
Thanks, Ariel. Thanks for clearing that up.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's actually 4.
When you multiply exponents, you add them, right? X squared times x to the third is x to the fifth. So when you multiply with logarithms, you can break that up as addition.
Thank you.
That's not ln. You can rewrite log of something multiplied together. You can break that up as 2 logs. You can rewrite that as log a of u plus log a of b. And that's because the answer to a logarithm is just an exponent, and when we multiply exponents, we add them. What we're going to do more often is it's going to be broken up, and you're going to want to put it back together, because that's going to make it easier to solve. Because it's property number 1. Because it's the same property over here, it's just ln. So I can say ln of u plus ln of b. Just don't put 1 there. It's okay. I'm sorry.
So like 2 more slides max.
I don't know. I think like 700.
Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna
When we divide with exponents, we do what? Subtract. So if you have the log or the ln of something subtracted, you can break it up, as something divided, you can break it up as subtraction. So log a of u divided by b, I could say is log a of u minus log a of b. And again, if you see subtraction, you can put it back together as division, and the same is true for ln's. And the last property I think is probably the one that we use the most when we're solving equations, and we kind of talked about the other day with our properties that we had for the inverses, but it has to do with exponents. And remember, when you multiply an exponent to an exponent, or when you take an exponent to an exponent, you multiply. So if you have a logarithm raised to a power, the property says you can take that and you can move it out front. So that's the same as saying n times log a of u. That's how we can solve an equation that has an x in the exponent, as if we just take a log of it, then we can pull the exponent out front. And the same thing is true for ln. So we can say that's n times ln of u. Today we're not solving equations. Today we're just going to practice using these. So some of these are going to say break apart the logarithm. So you're going to break it like this. Some of them are going to say put back together the logarithm as one logarithm, practicing using these properties. So it's my idea of a Good Friday. Logarithm. Ready? There you go.
Get right on.
Finger, you're not writing it.
Xavier. Xavier, you're not even right.
Xavier? Okay.
What? My name's Xavier. We're gonna train you, Xavier. Just roll it. Wait.
What? You skipped 4. And 5. Wait,
What does that mean?
where's 4?
Okay, we have to discuss about my bad notes today. We did these examples earlier with numbers with a period after them, right? And then we skipped to doing properties, and I made them numbered with parentheses after them. And now I'm going back to examples with periods after them. I know. I should have used like A, B, and C there. No, I didn't. We did 4 before.
Prove it.
We did 9 before.
Look, right here. This was number 4.
But then we skipped to 1 and then 2 to 3.
It was a different section.
I brought my calculator.
Change that to ABC.
It's too late. I'm already over here. Oh, I got it.
Do you think I'm like a good thing?
No, it's my calculator.
Right, example. That's all of my
Expand each logarithm means use all the properties. So you should have no multiplication, no division, no powers left. And look to see if you can simplify the end. So when I see log 3 of x divided by 9, I know division goes to subtraction.
Yep.
So I could rewrite that as log base 3 of x minus log base 3 of 9. Yes?
Can I have my calculator?
You don't need it.
I do too.
You don't need a calculator for this. So then I want you to just check to see if you can do anything. We can't do anything with this as an x. Can you tell me what log 3 of 9 is? 3 to the what equals 9, which is 2. So the best answer here would be to say it's log 3 of x and then minus 2.
What if I didn't know that? How would I type that in?
You don't type in the calculator. You could just use the change of base formula I just gave you, but you should be using the definition of a logarithm, Ariel, that says 3 to the what equals 9. Because I don't want it if it's decimal. I only want it if it works out nicely. So if it's a power of the base, then you work it out.
So I just put with square.
Yes, the exponent, because that's what a logarithm is, an exponent. What about number 6? Multiplication breaks up into addition. So I could write this as ln of x plus ln of e to the x.
ln x plus x.
So we could say this is where the inverse property comes out to. You can pull that x out front, and what is ln of e?
1. Oh no.
Can I say this is ln of 2x? No, because ln of x is separate plus x. No, it's separate. You could say that's x plus ln of x, right? Like this x is completely separate from this ln of x. All right, ready for a crazy one? Grady, can you please stop? Stop.
Whoa!
We're making a new seating chart. But these boys do not sit by each other.
Oh, because I learned. Oh, I know. Oh.
All right, so this is like the kind of the most difficult one you would see, one like this where there's multiple things happening here. Could I separate this? I'm gonna leave it. All right, I'm gonna do it because division goes to subtraction, so I could say minus log 5. I think it's important when there's addition or subtraction in a logarithm that you put parentheses around it, because when there's no parentheses, it's like up here, right? When there's no parentheses, it's just x, and then you add x. When you show that there's parentheses around it, that tells me all of that is in the logarithm. So it's kind of, parentheses are kind of an important thing when you're doing logarithms. Is there anything else I could do on this problem?
1/3 times log rate 5.
Remember that radicals are really just exponents. So you could write this as x squared plus 1 to the 1/3 power. And anytime you could write it as an exponent, you want to bring that exponent out front if you're going to expand it completely. So the best answer here would be 1/3 log 5 of x squared plus 1 minus log 5 of x squared minus 1. You cannot pull out this exponent because the whole thing's not the exponent, right? It's just the x. So you can only take out an exponent when the whole thing is raised to the power.
But it isn't 1 squared, it's 1, so
No. X minus 1 squared does not equal x squared minus 1, right?
no, I meant on the first one.
No, because it's not the same. If it's squared on the outside, there'd be a middle term, right?
Oh, yeah.
X squared plus 1 does not equal x plus 1 squared because you'd have a 2x in the middle. So that's why it's different.
Sorry for asking that question, guys.
No, I'm not mad at you. I was just trying to explain to you.
Yeah.
In calculus, we just took a test Monday, and lots of people missed points for parentheses issues. Like, we had to have a big talk about, they were giving answers like this, like really weird answers, like, we had answers like e to the 4x times 3x plus 1, and they were leaving their answers like that, and I had to take a point off, because this implies that only this is times this, when you have to say that it was times the whole thing, and some people missed like 4 points on their tests because they didn't put parentheses in the right spot, so it's an important thing to address these little issues like that. Alright, here's the other part of your homework. What if they give it to you separated and they want you to put it back? It's just going backwards, right? Like this. Oh yeah, I don't want to show you that other one. I think, I'm not gonna make any promises. I think this might be the last slide, besides homework. Maybe. There's a good chance. Besides the homework, you're going to have homework thing. You don't even have a football game, Zane.
Wow. That's making us sad. That was really cold-hearted of you to say.
You didn't mean it like that.
How do we tell what you mean when you just make a cold remark like that?
And then, like, you have plenty of time to do your homework. That's all I was doing. I wasn't trying to be like, you suck at football. That wasn't the lesson of that. I was just implying there's no football game to take your time up
We
tonight.
should probably just stop talking about it. Tim get really upset.
When
I can't believe you said that.
on the recording, I really like football.
He's lying us from the future.
You're gonna go back in like 10 years.
From the past.
When you're putting them back together, it's important to put your exponents back first so that you don't square the whole thing when you shouldn't square the whole thing. So the first thing, or if you're super cool, you can do it all at once. But when I see a number out front, I know that I can put that back in as an exponent. So I could say that's log 3 of u squared minus log 3 of v. And then subtraction goes back together as division. And here's the big thing. Write as a single logarithm, which means your final answer should only have log written once. A lot of times what people do is they say that it's this all divided by this, and they still leave log over log, which is not the same. You should say log base 3 of u squared over v. So your final answer should only have log written one time. Then what would we do if it was plus? You multiply. All right, ready for the crazy one?
Yep.
She even asked us our answer. She's like, ready for it. Great. He's moving back to Italy.
Because of this problem?
You could just say America. I was gonna say Indiana, but I guess that you're not from the States.
I might have a people probably. In Indiana?
What colleges do you like here?
Paul.
You could fall. Go to fall.
What do you want to do?
I'm not sure. I don't know how to say.
There you go. Okay.
You don't like what I did time.
Did you think one of the
He
kids?
said
He said he doesn't know how to say it.
economy and yeah, like.
Make lots of money.
You mean gold?
Okay.
You want to do it? You want to have it?
First of all, this 8 I could put up here as a power, yes?
Yeah.
So I could write this as log base 2 of the square root of 3x minus 2 to the 8th power. Could I simplify that before I even go on?
Yes.
Because what is the square root the same as?
1/2.
1/2.
So.
No, the 8th root.
No.
No.
To the 4th root. It's to the 4th, right?
This would be like, dang it, I wish my eraser ever worked. 3x minus 2 to the 1/2 power, that's a square root, and then to the 8th power. So yes, when you take the square root to the 8th power, it just is the 4th
How
power.
would you simplify that? You just added more.
I didn't, it's really this. I was just trying to show my work.
Welcome to math class, everybody. Because 1/2 raised to the 8th is really.
Alright, do you agree a square root is a 1/2 power?
I
I
guess
agree.
So half of 8 is 4?
Because when an exponent is to an exponent, you multiply.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marty.
You're welcome. I can't stop.
I could have made this more complicated because I could have separated this and made it log 2 of 4 minus log 2 of x, but I didn't. So on this one, subtraction means dividing, right?
Yeah.
So I could go ahead and write this all as one logarithm. I'm going to leave my log 2 out here, and now I'm going to change this subtraction to division, and I'm going to write over 4 divided by x. And then what does this addition mean out here? Multiply by 4. Do you think if this was on a test, I would give you all your points if you left your answer like that?
No. But you didn't put parentheses.
Oh.
No, because we don't leave fractions in a fraction. Ever.
Right. It's fractionception.
We can.
Yeah, you hate decimals. Yeah, you hate them.
I don't want a decimal.
F is a fraction.
I'm glad there's a fraction.
What was it? It's a SpongeBob song.
F is for friends.
Why did you
Stuck
say
together.
For you and me.
And it's great.
And we're
Take it
not
all
perfect,
right
but
here.
we got everything.
When you have a fraction divided by a fraction, remember that you can multiply up by the reciprocal, yes?
Yeah.
So if you have something divided by a fraction, just simplify it. So I can say that that is log 2 of 3x minus 2 to the 4th times the reciprocal of this, which is x over 4, and then I still have that times 4 out there.
Now we're done.
Almost. What can we do?
Nothing.
Taking the 4 away.
So I'm going to write my answer as x times 3x minus 4. Why do I keep saying 4?
Because it's the 4th power?
Yeah.
Hello.
Whoa, why did you pull that?
It doesn't matter, put the x at the end. I just think it looks nicer in the front. No stress.
I wrote 3x minus 2 to the 4th like 10 times on my page now.
I know, look, that's exciting. Woo!
You did extend the page twice. That's 2 times more than 3.
I kind of like went out that way, but I didn't.
What's for expansion?
Just think about your algebra rules. We just forget algebra sometimes. Like, we just expect to be able to type it on our calculator, and sometimes we have to just use our. Here's the bright side of your homework today. There's no graphing. And it's really not that bad. There are a few tricky ones, but most of them, right, 3 through 12 are breaking up using the properties, and then the through 21 are putting them back together, and then you get to use the change of base formula from 24 through 36. You get to just use change of base for the most part. Then some good old multiple choice.